Either way, I thought they might have.
So whose job is that? That's not the coach's, that's not Moss. Not that I like Moss, I mean, he's, I feel badly for him.
Oh,
I like him, he seems like a nice guy, but
Moss?
Moss, but he's not.
I didn't like
not a
him as a
coach,
player
not a coach.
because of choices he made. But you know, the main reason I don't appreciate him is as a coach, like as a player, I get you're emotional,
Yeah.
but as a coach, you should never be. And you saw him on the sidelines when a play didn't go well that he had just called. He'd show it.
Yeah.
You can't do that as a coach.
See, I coach volleyball,
Well, they've gotta get.
and I'm a hockey
Yeah.
player. As a player, some
Right?
hockey player, you can go out and run somebody through the boards or something.
Can't do that as a volleyball guy.
Yeah, I'm taken with that.
I bet you.
Cause I'm hot.
Really?
No kidding, eh? In the pissing contest with, Pete with,
You're thinking about
James last night. Innocently,
Well,
yeah,
Houston's
it's just
innocent.
but he got defensive and I got defensive,
go.
it was just like, you know, like, I mean, cause that's.
Meow. There we go.
I was cold and tired.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we
we will call this meeting to order, the November 2nd, 2022, Wednesday, regular council business meeting at 6:33, says Councillor Waring. The town of Turner Valley acknowledges that we are on traditional territories of the people of Treaty 7, including the Blackfoot Confederacy members, Siksika, Kainai, and the Kainai First Nations, the Stoney Nakoda, Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Wesley First Nations, the Dene of Tsutsina First Nations, and the Métis Nation Region 3. And I believe tomorrow the Stoney Nakoda have their nominations start for their next election. So Diamond Valley and Eden Valley are aligned. There you go. Okay, so we're called to order. Can we get an approval of the agenda? But before we do that, Councillor Waring, have we got you covered off on the item that you were going to discuss?
Yes, it's going to Cal.
Excellent. Okay, good.
We do have a couple of additions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Let's have it.
Mr. Mayor, with your permission, I'd like to add, community futures on for information
Yes, yeah.
as an agenda addition, please.
Righto.
13.3.
Yeah,
13.3,
sounds
Yep.
good. Yep.
okay.
Good.
Councillor Martin.
Use this one. That's good. Okay. And Hazel?
May I ask for a closed session?
Yes. I saw that.
Section 24 of the MGA.
Section 24.
FOIP section 24.
FOIP session. Thank you.
And that would be
At the end of the
At the
meeting.
end of the meeting.
17 before the
Okay.
adjournment.
So 13.1 we had? Yeah?
13.3.
Sorry, 3, sorry. All right, excellent. Okay, I'll get a motion from Councillor Rabb to that effect.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the agenda as amended.
Excellent. And administration, you didn't have anything else? Okay, all in favor? Thank you.
We don't need to vote, Gary, because they can't tell.
Actually, I'd like to tell the gallery that Waring and Rob are in attendance,
Yeah.
but we're not
They're
part
on
of
the
the
end,
group.
this way and that way. You can hear them.
I could stand up and walk around and go like that one. Because
You
You
have
could
to
just
stand
stick a
behind
hand
the
in.
mayor.
Could we get adoption of previous minutes? We have October 5th, 2022. We'll do them one by one.
I'll give you that, Mayor Crane.
Okay, Councillor Martin gives us that. Any errors, omissions,
I did not see any.
things of clarity? Nope, good. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. 4.2, Councillor Curtis.
Councillor Curtis, I like it.
CD reminds me of music.
There you
You gonna give it?
Yep.
All right, any errors, omissions?
All good.
This is 4.2.
4.2,
Yep.
all good. Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried.
I'll give you,
Opposed?
Mr. Mayor, I'd be willing to give you 4.3, but I do have an omission that has to be checked out here.
Excellent, okay, good.
And that I think it's an error by omission. When I look at the, boards and commissions, I don't see West End at all. And I'm not sure anything else is missing, but I don't see West End.
Cut off, I think.
Sorry?
Yeah, I believe it just got cut off, but you're correct.
So I think that would be a wise change to add, please.
Make sure
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
I don't know
Table
if there's
is
anything
correct.
else missing, just check your committees, that's what I did, I just looked at mine, oh, West End's not there.
We've been fired.
Maybe,
West-
well,
West
they
Winds.
don't include us the picture anymore, so it's quite possible.
West
The new
Winds is
council, Turner
missing.
Valley is 5 members now?
Anything after the S.
West Winds is missing too.
Yeah.
West Winds is missing as well?
Yeah.
Anything beginning with
The
W.
bottom with the, there you go, the last two.
Anything after S is missing.
Yeah, anything after S, so
L,
West
N,
Winds,
N,
West
P,
End,
Q, R, S, T,
any other W's or Y's?
U,
Yamana?
V, W, X, Xerox
So
committee.
just the
we
mission,
disbanded that
otherwise
one.
they look good.
The Xerox committee we disbanded, right, Council Rep?
Yep,
Yeah.
Xerox is going.
All right, well, I think with the additions as amended, we'll
They
accept
work?
that.
So, yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Right.
Excellent, thank you. Let's see if this is gonna work for me. Bam, and it did, excellent. All right, question period. Seeing as we have no one, we'll do the quick and easy. Question period is a 15-minute section of time blocked out on a council meeting for the public to ask questions of council or administration for points of clarity or just general interest. You can email, text, phone, email a councillor, talk to a councillor on the street. You can get any question to us any way you want. We will take it. And administration usually fields it. Mr. Patience, did we get any questions in any form whatsoever?
No, Mr. Mayor, we did not.
Very well. Waring, did you have any questions? Because I know we're almost to the end of your term and there's burning questions. Maybe you have one for us?
I'm going to wait till I'm a civilian,
Ah, yes.
and then I'm going to
Lambast.
lots in.
Very well. I look forward to it. All right. Moving on from question period, statutory hearings we have none, and delegations we have 0. 8.1, Chief Administrative Officer's Report. We have a copy. Mr. Patience, I'll let you verbalize it, and then council will have questions of clarity.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. So I provided you a report from myself and our corp services and our public works, and I know that next meeting we'll have an update from our community services manager. Correct?
Absolutely.
Everyone is obviously running and burning the candles at both ends with amalgamation. So I'll give you a brief summary of, and it's funny how 2 weeks worth of work can look so small, of my goings on, bulk of it revolving around amalgamation. Some West End meetings. We have onboarded our new receptionist, Iris Burge. So we now have 2 Irises in the Turner Valley family.
Okay.
Pair of eyes,
Yeah.
2 eyes.
2 irises, a pair of
Yeah.
eyes.
Ah,
Yes.
nothing will go unnoticed.
So,
Exactly.
so far working out very well. So if you're calling the front desk and you get Iris, it could be
Iris.
Iris.
Then again, it could be.
So we have been obviously reviewing a number of bylaws, and we've had a bizarre number of meetings regarding our HR, or utilizing our HR consultant to review policies, organizational structures, communications. No, I'm forgetting something here. Nonetheless, long list. We've also began meetings this week with our branding contractor, so you'll hear more about that at JFAC. Ms. Middleton has provided an update on corporate services, working on utility rates, meeting with benefit providers, cleaning up electronic files, eliminating duplications in order to mesh our 2 drives together. So fundamentally, we'll be going forward with three main drives, our drive, Black Diamond's drive, and the new Diamond Valley drive, so that we still have archive access. She's completed the Q3 financial report, which you'll see later on in this meeting. Working on internal operating budget, which we had to cancel our meeting today. We'll move that tomorrow to our manager's meeting, preparing 23 budget submission for you. Audit planning, amalgamation, developing payroll survey for staff. She's been working on bi-weekly updates with Community-Ware. I can also add that we met with our insurance providers today. Working on GL structures, insurance renewal issues, continued efforts on collaboration, and Public Works has also provided you a brief update on their goings on, and actually Mr. Beaton provided me an update on his update today. So you can see, I can add that under Distribution, he has now added that MP is working on a scope of work for the water main in the river that we discussed previously. We should have an RFP ready for review in approximately 2 weeks.
Do we need approval from AEP to get that work started?
We need only a minimal approval if we do it in non-water flow season,
Yeah.
prior to water flow. I can't remember the terminology, I apologize. It's, I can't remember the term, it's not a full-blown approval, however. So MP is already looking at that particular piece.
You don't want to get into another mess. do you?
No, we don't. Culvert and pond overflow's cleared. You can read on the sanitary, the new motor's been ordered for the Muffin Monster. Final line flush was done this would be actually a week and a half ago. We finally signed off on the stream service agreement. I know in answer to some previous questions, the balers have all been sold, and those ones that were outside, we're actually just waiting for pickup.
How much?
I knew you were gonna ask that question. So the numbers varied from 1,600 to just under 2,900 a piece for the 4.
How were they sold?
They were sold on government, I have to remember the name of the site now.
Surplus or something like that?
Yeah, it's a government surplus site that many municipalities utilize, governmentdeals.com, I believe it is, GovDeals.
I guess it was a deal, seeing there were 20 grand.
They were, and it's almost an auction site where the highest bidder gets the pieces.
Wow.
And we've used it actually multiple times before, prior to my arrival as well, so.
Check that second. Okay.
Asphalt and concrete work was completed, just not long before the snow flew. We got the plow back, waiting for invoicing. Seasonal decorations are up, as everyone knew, for Halloween. Christmas decorations after November 11th. Dog park parking area, so the fencing has begun. The parking area, however, will need to be postponed until the spring of 2023, and gravel will be stockpiled over the winter, so they'll be utilizing the existing parking area in the interim.
There's only survey markers in, there's no
Yeah.
fence.
There's no fence.
No, they're just starting on the fence, yeah. And of course, this might
Delayed.
delay it, yes. And of course, as every department has been, he's working on amalgamation. So happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Councillor Martin.
Can you give us an update on what your meeting with Service Alberta has entailed? Do you have any new information to share with us?
I do, but I prefer to share that at JFAC if I may.
Okay.
I believe that's the appropriate venue for that particular update, and I'm actually in the midst of doing an RFD for that.
Thank
Good
you.
to know.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions? Councillor Rabb.
Mr. Mayor, I see no reference here. Mr. Beaton made no reference to that culvert work in seclusion there. Is there any, are we gonna be able to start that this fall, or what's the plan? At least I don't see it there.
So, slight delay because the Gabion growing wall provider that provides the mesh,
Okay,
their MP is still working with the supplier and waiting on final costing before they go to tender on that particular project, so
Okay.
it's very close.
okay, thank you.
Same question, do we need AEP for that?
It's the same answer. Same answer as
No.
you.
The
It's
water's
the
not
same,
flowing.
same
And
project.
do you
Don't
not
go to
need
AEP, it'll
water
take 3 years to
access
get an
because
answer.
it's a creek? No?
If there's no water flowing,
Okay.
it's a different approval, so
Okay.
that's what we're hoping to achieve, yeah.
Frozen water is considered non-moving.
Frozen, so the ice doesn't move that
Right,
much except in
doesn't,
the spring.
Unless you're in
Yeah.
Greenland.
There you go.
You get a free drop.
I apologize, I can't recall the terminology that Jill used for the approval, but it's not a full-blown process.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, good.
Scares me, or anything to do with AEP or
Yeah.
AEs.
Moving along is good, so. Any other questions for CAO regarding the report?
I have a quick question.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, really quick question here on waste services, and I don't expect you to answer it now. when can we expect to see a preliminary update on, our tipping fees, what we're sending off to, the landfill, if we can get an update on that, perhaps, within the next 2 council meetings, to see how we're doing on that? Cause I like the fact that we're reducing the green pickup right now, but, I'd like to know and see a preliminary report on how well this service has been going.
See what I can do for you.
Councillor Rob?
I may have an answer for you, Mr. Councillor Gordon.
Cool.
If we look at our budget, our third quarter from, our finance, it'll mention there, our fees to the landfill is lower.
Yeah,
And I assume that is because of the
reduced
amount of garbage, because we got the green file going,
and
see?
recycle.
I assume that. So when we get to that, when we get to the financial report here, you can have a look, and I think it might show there,
Yeah,
perhaps.
Cool.
But still, it's an excellent question,
yeah,
and
getting
I'd like to see the
more
answer
detail,
anyway,
yeah.
but I think that there might be the first clue that it might actually be saving us money at the landfill, which would be great.
Pretty sure.
Saving the life of the landfill and money.
Yeah.
Councillor, Deputy Mayor Holiday sits on that, and she's got a few
Yeah,
charts. I don't know
it's
if it's
been
got anything
done,
for you.
Not the whole year, we just get month to month, so I'd have to go back and do it, but I know that as I've been watching over the past few months, we've been down across the board. Not that much this month, but, that's hard to say, because if you get a big soil job, or, like I know September, we took it off a lot of fence posts to the landfill, so certain things like that, if somebody does something really huge, it can skew your numbers, so you don't know. In the numbers that we're getting, but they'll have the numbers for just the truck.
That's what I
Because
see.
we get, yeah, cause we only get the numbers that have truck and residents
Right.
hauling separately, so you can have a really big, you can't really
It's
rely on
skewed,
those
yeah.
numbers.
And I think
Comparison.
Paul can pull those numbers
Yeah,
up
they
pretty
do
quick.
have it, and they say that, cause last time I asked, they said it's been making a big difference, so.
Nice.
All right. If no one
Set
has
for
any,
information?
thank you. There's the motion. All in favor? And that is carried. Amalgamation reports and information. This is Linda Reynolds, is it?
Yes.
There's a few disallowed.
Yeah.
I have questions about that.
Okay, well, why don't we fire the questions off, and then we can get straight to it. Go ahead, Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, so items 22.10.05.14 and 22.10.05.15 have been disallowed, which is in regards to signing authority. And I'm just curious as to what that means now. If those motions have been disallowed, will we have to look at new signing authority then for those accounts, or how will that work? Next.
So, I'll let you answer, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no, that's a good question. We actually went through this at our last meeting with Municipal Affairs, and they had suggested that they were going to disallow the motions because of the reference to Diamond Valley, which is not a municipality, so it can't be referenced in your motions. However,
Good point.
we did not have to withdraw the motions, they've been disallowed, but they don't really have any influence, and this evening, Town of Black Diamond will be passing 3 new resolutions that essentially name Ms. Middleton and myself as signatories on the Black Diamond bank account, which is the bank account that will move forward into Diamond Valley. And that Shirley, Corinne, Corporate Service Manager, Shirley Campbell, Finance Manager, will be designated signing authorities, and that CAO Brown and myself will be added as signatories to that same account. So those motions are being corrected by Black Diamond's council this evening, and there's nothing that our council is required to do in terms of that.
Okay.
Simple enough.
Just a quick follow-up,
Yep,
so we
absolutely.
don't have to do anything from our council in regards to those then. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I'll take a motion to accept. Councillor Gordon? All in favor? Thank you, that's great. All right, meat and potatoes, bylaws and policies. We have RFD for Sheep River Library Board Dissolution Bylaw. Councillor Martin, are you interested to speak to
That
this
motion?
after, Ms. Brown?
Sure.
I'm assuming Ms. Brown's gonna give us a little what for and a how-to.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, she is.
All right, I'm gonna hand it over.
I don't know about the what for, but definitely the how to.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through the chair. This was one of those priority bylaws that we spoke about at the beginning of this process, once we got our OC passed. Working with municipal affairs like public library advisors, this is what they suggested. This is just to give us authority to start the process to dissolve the existing library board. Once the minister approves this, we will set a date for when the board will actually be dissolved. At which time, once we receive that information, we can prepare a new bylaw to establish the new municipal library board. Are there any questions?
Councilor Martin, you wanna just tell us what the board's been talking about and how they see this rolling out?
Well, they've worked on this spreadsheet. It took them a little bit longer than what they had originally anticipated to do all their inventory. And as for the board, we're looking forward to the new one, to the new Diamond Valley.
Excellent. And will the board complement change at all under the new community?
It'll just be one member.
No, I mean members at large and
No,
so on.
no,
Same framework.
yeah, just be one council.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Any questions for Ms. Brown or for Hazel? Councilor Rabb gives me the nod.
I'll give you the first motion. The council give first reading to bylaw 22-1134 to authorize the town of Turner Valley to apply the Minister of Municipal Affairs to dissolve Sheep River Library Board.
Do we need a date?
I do have a question.
Good grade.
I was prepared for that,
That's
Mr.
not a
Mayor.
question.
And through the chair, the minister will determine the date. We have up to 6 months to dissolve the existing board, which means they'll be allowed to continue to operate as is without any disruption in services to the community.
Excellent.
So once we'll request a date, and once the new council is on board, we can do a new bylaw to establish a new municipal board, at which time we'll probably ask the current members if they would mind sitting on that board at that time until we can look for new people.
Mhm.
We've
Perfect.
got applications already for the new library board coming in, so
Nice.
Perfect.
hopefully we'll
Councillor-
fill vacancies.
Councilor Gordon.
Yeah, it may just be a technicality, but if we look on the letter that has been sent to the minister or will be sent to the minister, in the second paragraph, we reference to the dissolving of the Sheep River Intermunicipal Library Board, because technically that is the structure of the board, correct? It is called the Intermunicipal Board because it has Black Diamond and Turner Valley. And so, based on the legislation, we're removing the intermunicipal piece. So shouldn't our
Motion.
motion reference the intermunicipal in the same manner it does in the letter? And if not, why not?
I can answer that. The board was set up as an intermunicipal library board. However, their official name is the Sheep River Library Board, so that's what we are dissolving.
Okay.
That's how they were incorporated, that's how we have to have the wording.
Good to know.
Did ask our advisors and they did confirm that, so
Excellent.
Thank you for
that
clarifying.
answers your question.
It does.
Perfect. Councilor Rabb gives us first reading. All in favor? That's carried.
I will give you a second.
Deputy Mayor Holliday is gonna give me second.
Oh,
I'll read it.
sorry. Okay, that council gives second reading to bylaw number 22-1134 to authorize the town of Turner Valley to apply to the Minister of Municipal Affairs to dissolve Sheep River Library Board.
Any comments? Seeing.
I got a comment.
Yes.
If it's not intermunicipal, why do we have to dissolve it?
That's
Yes,
kind
then
of,
it goes to municipal, from intermunicipal to the municipal.
No,
But the
it-
actual
it's
name doesn't
actually
have a municipal.
registered as a Sheep River Library Board, not as intermunicipal
kind of what I
library
was
board.
getting at.
Therefore, after the 1st of January, nothing will change.
Thank you for picking up what I was laying down.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me.
Interesting point, isn't it?
The defence rests.
That's, thank you for picking up what I was putting down, thank you.
It does kinda make sense. Do we have an answer? We do?
It's got to be a good one.
Lay it on us.
It has to be
She's
a female,
prepared for these
it has to be a
answers tonight.
female
I
answer
am.
this.
I'm
She
very
was just waiting to
prepared.
see if we pick up on these things.
That's correct.
There you go. Okay, go ahead.
So, the reason it is intermunicipal, and once we are amalgamated, yes, I understand that it will no longer be intermunicipal. However, the minister has the authority to extend any bylaws that are in place, which means this board can continue to operate as an intermunicipal library until such time he sets a date to dissolve it.
No, she,
Which can be
Yes,
up to 6 months in
Yeah,
twenty
that's right.
twenty-three.
If I might, I believe the reference was if it's officially a municipal library board, why do we have to dissolve it from an
It's not.
intermunicipal?
It's not a municipal library board right now, hence the reason it's called Sheep River. Once we establish the new library board, they will be called the Diamond Valley Library Board.
There we go. Just the name
And
change.
it will be a municipal library board.
I thought the name was staying the same.
We should just ask
Withdraw
him
your
to change his
comments.
name.
Withdraw
it's
your
okay.
comments. You're not on the screen anyway, you can do that. They won't know it.
I'm going to vote against it.
All right.
I will certainly vote against it.
Any further
Against
conundrums?
it. Doesn't make any sense.
Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? That's right. Okay, I'll give, the council agreed to give all 3 readings at this meeting to bylaw, well actually, to hear, the council agreed to hear 3rd and final reading of bylaw, number 22-1134. To authorize the town of Turner Valley to apply to the Minister of Municipal Affairs to dissolve Sheep River Library Board. So this is just to hear, and as we know, it has to be unanimous, so this could be funny. All in favor?
I say let's move it along.
That's carried. Okay, now, Councillor Gordon.
Finally, the council give 3rd and final reading to bylaw number 22-1134 to authorize the town of Turner Valley to apply to the Minister of Municipal Affairs to dissolve the Sheep River Library Board.
All in favor?
Bye-bye.
And all opposed? No. Okay. All right, and that is carried unanimously. Thank you. Thanks for giving us a little bit of a sweat there, Waring. Just enough to make it interesting. Okay, animal control bylaw. Now, are we back to cats?
No.
4 versus 3.
Well, then life should be good.
That was funny, wasn't it?
Okay, Mr. Patience, I'm gonna hand her over to you for the animal control bylaw 22-1135.
Thanks, Mayor Crane, and I'm going to pass it back to Ms. LeBlanc, who has done all the work on this particular piece. As you were aware, we did a revision not too long ago, but this is an attempt to now unify the 2 bylaws between the town of Black Diamond and the town of Turner Valley, and you know, there was some discrepancies even after our last revision, so I'm happy to turn this over to Ms. LeBlanc and thank her for her work on this particular item.
Excellent. Ms. LeBlanc, good to see you. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to present to council, and thank you, CAO Patience. And the credit has to be shared with Legislative Services Manager Lisa Brown, because she assisted me in tuning this up so that it was presentable. However, you will recall that in July, we presented a request to council which was approved to eliminate any reference to cats within the bylaw. That was the first step of what essentially is 3 in the process of aligning both Turner Valley and Black Diamond's bylaws, which are at the moment very close, and what we're presenting this evening is what brings it even closer. So no cat reference, however now we've done a thorough review of any of the sections that were missing, those that required being either added or omitted. We found a few errors along the way, so we've cleaned all of that up, as well as we've aligned all of the fines and fees. So you'll see in front of you a request to be able to give first reading to a new bylaw number instead of amending the old one, it was best to provide a new one. The town of Black Diamond is reviewing the same bylaw this evening, and hopefully we'll pass at the same time or follow the same steps. And then what this allows us to do is that by January 1st, both bylaws are identical, so it really makes it a lot easier for enforcement. There aren't different rules for each community, and then at that point it'll be one of the first bylaws, I suspect, to be presented to the new council of Diamond Valley. Were there any questions? I can certainly go through any of the highlights, but there were some red lines in here for you to
I'm
take a
gonna
look
go
at.
Councillor Martin, and then I'll follow up Councillor Dixon.
Is this more of a question, Monique? It's under vicious dogs, 12.0. And then we go over to 12.6B. And it says the owner of a vicious dog shall make application for a vicious dog license. Is that different from a dog license application?
I think that's a really good point. I questioned that as well, and I think it's one, it has to be determined that, and to determine what a vicious dog is something that is somewhat legislated, and I believe that it's a special license that essentially notifies any of the enforcement staff that this is an animal to be aware of, and that there are certain restrictions that are applied to that. However, I would like to be able to flesh that out a little bit more and give you a more exact answer, but that's my understanding of it. And to my knowledge, we have never issued one. Any of the vicious dog incidents that we've ever had have ended up in court, or there's been, the matter's been resolved without having to go to court, so we've not had to deal with it.
And then on the fee schedule, there's no fee for a vicious dog.
Like if you're for a license, you mean? Yeah.
For the license.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
would they
we're-
just purchase a regular dog license?
My suggestion would be that we take this to the second reading with explanation, if that's all
Okay.
right, because I don't feel that I can confidently answer that accurately.
Okay, that sounds fair.
Councillor Dixon.
Right, Monique, if I may, in regards to the backyard hens program, I've had a member of the public approach me, and has there ever been any consideration put forward in regards to other fowl, such as ducks and geese and so on and so forth, and allowing those in the backyard hen program? And if not, is that something we could look at moving forward, or is that off the table? Thank you.
Oh, there's a thought.
So through Mayor Crane, thank you, Councillor Dixon, for the question. That is a bit of a head scratcher for me. I do recall when we were first doing the research regarding this, and it was my understanding that there was concern in terms of wing clipping for anything other than chickens. So it was the fact that they would have to be caged all the time, but I don't know that for sure. So that's another one that I'd like to clarify. I just can't quite recall why it was. And in most municipalities that were researched, and those that I'm aware of, they don't have anything other than hens. And within that chicken category, roosters are not permitted.
Yep.
But I don't know about any other fowl permitted, but I can certainly check into it.
As a follow-up, if this bylaw is to come back again later on for reintroduction, I'm wondering if we might consider that at that point. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rapp, or sorry, Deputy Mayor was in front of you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Deputy Mayor, then Councillor Rapp. Sorry about
Yeah,
Mhm.
4.5 dog breeders. There are so many people, I know lots of people that have pet dogs that they breed and they sell off. They're not professional dog breeders, but they certainly are doing it in their home. And this seems to cut that all out, making it illegal. It refers to land use bylaw, but the land use bylaw is very limited in kennels and dog breeding. You have to be urban reserve, and you have to have the building 500 feet from any other property, which means there's like maybe one, like maybe the Canna Gateway land would be about the only place you could fit that. So I don't know what discussion's been had on this. I know you have it highlighted in red. Do you have any? I'm just worried about the the average, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but
No, I agree.
No,
do you guys agree?
I agree.
There's so many people that just have small dogs and they breed them and they have a litter every couple of years and they're not professional, but they're, or every year or whatever it is. Yeah, so
that's
is this,
not
we're making it illegal here, so, yeah. Do you have any background information or discussion from?
Certainly through Mayor Crane. Deputy Mayor Holliday, my understanding is that this was the attempt at eliminating, breeders who might be doing it in such a way that it's not ethical. That's not to say that somebody who's just bred their dog and having a batch of puppies and selling them off is illegal per se, but this way it would be something that was eliminating that possibility of running, potentially one of those types of operations. So it could be firmed up and maybe specified and identified so that the odd one was allowed and those that were regular breeders had special licensing, I'm not sure.
follow up.
Yeah,
Yeah, the word
it goes back to
commercial.
the definition of dog breeder means it means any person, firm or corporation which is engaged in the operation of breeding and raising dogs for the purpose of selling, breeding, bartering, giving away or otherwise transferring the same. So even if you're just giving away the pups, it says any person, so I don't know if there's a way we, but if they're unethical, chances are they don't have a proper business license or a corporation, like, they're not. So, I think, I don't know if there's more thought that can go into this.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. LeBlanc, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Crane. Deputy Mayor Holliday, I believe that also there was difficulty in being able to establish that, so now it would be that borderline kennel. Difficult to license, there'd have to be inspections. But that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be looked at further either. We can definitely look into it.
Yeah, the word commercial hits me. Commercial dog breeder would exempt the average homeowner who's just, had a batch of puppies.
Maybe it ties into our dog limit, right? Cause a regular breeder, a puppy farmer is gonna have more than, so maybe we need to have the discussion on the 4 dogs and Black Diamond's 3, right? Is that happening, or no, what's?
That's in here.
That's
Yeah,
in
but then
that's
you're
in
allowed
here.
to have more dogs when you've had puppies, it says in there. So it says
Can
you
I
can't do it,
clarify?
but if you do it, you can have them.
Through Mayor Crane, currently, we have a line to allow 4 dogs, both at Black Diamond and Turner Valley, so they've adjusted theirs up. And then, dogs are permitted to be fostered and or up to 6 months old, I believe, prior to requiring a license. So at that point, the way that we handle it is, we do not allow any more than that. If people are willing to take that chance and their animal's found running at large, then there's fines and penalties that are assessed.
No, it's 7.2.
So I might maybe add a little to that too, and I know Mrs. LeBlanc will certainly look into those pieces, but sometimes we'll install pieces in our bylaws to just allow us to enforce if a situation arises that dictates that. So with the dog breeding, for instance, it's not like we would necessarily go after somebody because they just had 5 puppies and they were selling them. Because it becomes an issue, however, we then do have the ability to enforce that under that bylaw. So I'm not suggesting that's why it was written that way, but it would give us that flexibility to allow us to deal with a commercial breeder if it was being done under the table sort of a piece.
Okay. Councillor Rapp.
Yes, I would like to have us consider an additional word to 4(1)D, where it says bite or bark at or chase livestock, bicycles, automobiles, and or other vehicles. I wouldn't mind adding wildlife to that. Where I live on Robert Street, I have an open area behind me,
Good point.
and people treat that as an off-leash park. It's not what it is, but that's what they treat it as. So just yesterday morning, I was still in my house coat, so I didn't go up and snarl at him, but this guy came by, his dog's off the leash, and there's a deer there. And I'm not a really big fan of deer, and Gary Pollock would call them rodents, but in any event, I don't think they should be chased, especially not in the winter time, you know, when it's tough enough slugging for deer, and if they die, they die, I guess, but you don't wanna see them starve because they get chased all along. So that bothered me, so I wonder if we could consider adding, cause livestock doesn't cover wildlife, you know?
No, doesn't, not
So
in
I
the
wouldn't
definition.
mind adding the word wildlife, so that's something we could consider.
I think so, good idea.
Parks Canada, that would be totally,
Well, I think, I mean, I just don't think that's not acceptable, that's not, I mean, I see it with deer, but there could be other wildlife too, I don't know. Normally it would be deer in our town, I would think, be the main
That's a
ones, but
great addition.
it might be an additional word that
Yep.
doesn't really change the intent, I don't think, but just covers up, cause I really have, I mean, if I saw this yesterday, what am I supposed to do, tell the guy to put his dog in a leash? I mean, he can tell me where to go because there's nothing in a bylaw that says, but if you got wildlife, let's say it's illegal to chase
Yep.
wildlife. And I did see a comment from a citizen last year where,
Right.
and I know the dogs, and I know it's the same area. These two dogs put the rush on about 10 deer in the Meadlands, but it was really cold, about 30 below, that deep of snow. That's not cool. Anyway,
Like it.
If
Thank
you,
Councillor Waring?
I suppose I should put this in. If you look at F, it says cause damage to personal property, injure or kill any other animal. So I would imagine that wildlife would come under that.
that's a good
I
point.
see no reason why it couldn't be added as a specific
Indeed.
word.
But that says kill or injure, it doesn't say anything about chase.
That's why you wanna add it in.
So I like it, you know what I'm
But you
saying?
could add chase, injure or kill any
Yeah.
other animal,
Grass.
wild or whatever. you
Oh,
want.
same wordage.
It's just to
Yeah.
say, all we have to do is add one word.
Yeah.
Yep.
Livestock, wildlife.
Yeah.
Either way,
Anyway, just
Good point.
Yeah.
I think it should be there.
Shall we vote on adding that,
I-
you could,
or do you wanna just,
you don't
Let's
have to
just
vote.
have, you
First
hear it
reading.
and you can bring it
It's
back.
only first reading.
Touch,
yeah,
With-
touch base
with
with the
amendments.
Yeah,
council
we're
and
just
see if
looking.
it's acceptable.
sure enough,
I asked permission, I just said, could you consider? Maybe you don't wanna do it, but could you consider adding it?
thumbs up on council table.
Oh, we keep going then.
Comment.
We're
There's
just
other-
gonna get a
Hmm.
feel for it.
Three
Just a
meters.
thumbs up to see if that's a good
Deputy Mayor's
idea.
got a comment.
Well, I'm in a little different situation because I'm on urban reserve, but for the average homeowner, you get deer in your yard, you let your dog out, they're gonna chase and bark at the deer in your yard and gonna get them, like, it's gonna happen. But I do agree that if you're out in open spaces, not on your own property, that, yeah, you should have your dog on a leash first of all, and
Yeah.
they shouldn't be chasing it.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
D seems to have that inferred though, doesn't it? That they're out and about, they're not on their own land. Cause they're chasing bicycles, they're chasing
Yeah.
vehicles.
I just wanna be careful with it, and that's why it's good to bring back, 'cause yeah, I mean, your average home, if you let your dog out and there's a deer there, they're gonna bark at it and they're gonna
Yeah.
chase it out of your yard.
A little different, I think. Different than what I saw.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Thank you, Mayor Crane. If I may just add to that, it is specifically unlawful to allow your dog to run unleashed, right? It's running at large and there's a fine and a penalty until the dog park is established, and then people can run there, but otherwise, that whole area, if they're off leash, that is illegal. It's
They're all off
contravening the
leash,
bylaw.
They're off leash there all the time.
Walk on any of the trails and there's dogs off leash.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Friendship Trail, Jack Bowman Trail,
Yeah.
anywhere.
Totally. Anybody else? Cause I've got a comment to make here as well.
Just really minor.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is just terribly minor, but the fact that we've removed cats, do we need to have it defined? Just a simple thought.
Well, yeah, otherwise you won't know what's removed.
Are you saying I shouldn't chase cats or what?
No, the cat is included in the definition and then it's not part of the bylaw, right?
Go
So
ahead,
I'm a stickler on those kind of minor details.
Mr. LeBlanc. Your start.
Thank you, Mayor Crane, and to address Councillor Gordon's very perceptive comment. I wondered the same thing, and it was better to have it in just in case it had to be referenced, but can certainly take a look and see if it's required.
Alright, thank you. There's no reference to horses in here.
Livestock.
Livestock.
Well, I'm looking under livestock.
Under definitions.
It's not really, well, I guess, okay. It's covered, and the reason I bring that up is because recently we've had some casual horse riders who just, you know, go out every second day, and the horse defecates on walking paths downtown in front of the library, and there is no responsibility to pick it up, and it really chokes me when I crawl out through a snowbank just to get my dog's number 2, you know what I mean? So 17.4, the owner of any livestock temporarily entering the town must hygienically dispose of any pieces in accordance with the Environmental Protection Act, enhancement, blah, blah, blah. No penalty is my question. So, what is our penalty for contravening the bylaw in general, I assume? From a rate structure, what would be the hammer that can be used?
Failure to pick up, but
Would it fall under failure to pick up?
I'm just looking at
Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for that comment, Mayor Crane. I
Yes,
do
please.
think that it could be expanded under 7.13, because I don't think it's been addressed anywhere else.
Seven one three.
7.1.
Put one
A,
through.
B, C, and D.
See, there is no 7.1.3.
Yeah.
7.1.
Under penalties,
Seven. Oh, under penalties, the last page.
Oh, under penalties. Okay, let's check that out. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. Okay, that's good.
it could
Exceed
read animal
maximum-
waste.
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
no, that's under hens.
No, it's at the very end under
Yeah.
penalties,
I don't see penalties.
7.1.3, scroll down, right near the top,
Here we go.
The chair, it's under Schedule B,
maybe come up
second
more.
page, page
Schedule
22.
C.
Failure to properly
7.1.3.
dispose of dog waste,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
7.13.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. That
Question, please.
gets me. I'm happy with that. Councillor Waring.
Going back to life, definition of livestock, and, you know, you've got your ostriches and camels and all these other things, and you also refers to chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, pigeons or pheasants. And then on VI, which is the last part of X, livestock, it says all other animals that are kept for agricultural purposes but does not include dogs, cats or hens licensed in the backyard hens program or other domesticated household pets. So are we basically saying that unless you live in an urban reserve, you can't have livestock? If you live in a town,
Mm-hmm.
you can have hens,
Cats are.
cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Mice. Rats. Skunks. We have skunks. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I was wondering whether that meant that you could have ducks and geese in your garden, and I guess it does. That was all.
Specific to the hens program.
Because I'd like an emu.
I like it. Oh, you're gonna be a fun civilian. Anything? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Dixon.
Just reading part F of 8.6, it says the selling of eggs, manure, meat, or other products that derive from the hens is prohibited. I'm just wondering if the selling of eggs should be in there, because I know that there's a few folks in town that are actually selling eggs to their neighbors and such, and I'd hate to see them get in trouble for something like that. I'm just wondering why that's in there, and can you give us any details?
Salmon and-
I think it's through pages.
If I may, through the mayor.
Absolutely, go ahead on that one.
Councillor Dixon, my understanding is that it was never meant to be a commercial venture, and that is what would dictate it. And it was meant for consumption by the family and the owners.
Thank you.
It's a bit like having puppies.
But there's also a safety, health and safety,
Well,
big
yeah,
time.
I understand that. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because I know a few folks that are doing that, and so
And they
we're
advertise on Facebook.
kind of at a conundrum right now. Like, do we enforce a bylaw that's currently existing, or do we just take it out so that it's no longer an issue?
Mr. Bone?
I could just add further to my comments, that's always a difficulty, is how far do you take enforcement? So, do we know it, how do you prove it? If it's hearsay, and then suddenly you're literally going into people's backyards. We do an inspection, so we're aware of that level of it, making sure that the animals are well treated and well cared for. Aside from that, it is difficult unless we get a complaint with some evidence to indicate as such, and then likely it would be a warning.
So I'm wondering if maybe perhaps we should make it a public, we should just state it publicly that it's against the bylaw, just so that it's out there. If people choose to go against it, that's their choice, I suppose, but.
You can go on Facebook and do that, sure.
Well, it just concerns me a little bit. I hate to see somebody get a fine when they don't know the bylaw exists.
Well, as part of the hen program, they
Yeah,
would,
it's
they
in
would be
there.
told all this.
So I guess I have
Yeah.
nothing to say.
Yeah. One of the things, I guess, where that falls in is people that have hens that aren't registered in the program,
Yeah.
then we have an issue. And of course, then we have a stick, because you're not registered, period, so now you're breaking many rules, right? So, yeah, it's kinda one of those forgiveness, permission, But-
Nothing better than fresh eggs, I'll give you that.
right? There you go. Okay, Rab, did you have a final thought?
No,
None? You just wanted that one word added?
Which I
that's
agree.
all I have, that's all I asked
That's
for.
been noted. You're good. Waring, you were good.
I can give you a motion.
I think we'll take it.
We'll get back to where the beginning of this is. It's quite a long document. Well, here we are. The council give first reading to Animal Control Bylaw 22-1135 as presented with amendments.
Excellent. Thank you. Any further comments? I actually did have one to point out for Hazel. And I'm just gonna find it right quick here. It is 350, here it is, 21.8. Notwithstanding section 2 of this bylaw, the minimum fine on summary conviction in respect to contravention of section 12 of the bylaw, i.e. vicious dogs, is $350,
Which is a lot higher than the normal dog.
which I think could be 1,000, but that's okay. I just want to make note of that. All in favor? There we go. And that is carried, and we're moving on. All right. Old business, there,
I can give you a motion.
Oh, yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Councillor Waring gives me a motion, go ahead.
Option 2, to deny the D.A.R.E. Works Foothills Society's 2022-2023 programme funding request in the amount of $2,671.50.
Thank you. And would anyone like to speak to this particular motion? I will say I did talk to PTA reps, and the principal, and they are investigating some heavier, more detailed information programs, and they really wanna hammer home some of the things that are out there today, and I think D.A.R.E needs to, up their game. So they're gonna try and find something a little more, meaty, to put it bluntly. So, yeah. So that's the investigation work I had. So, all in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Patience, for finance 13.1, update
Thanks,
and
Minnie.
report.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor Crane. I'm more than happy to present this, however, Ms. Middleton has been kind enough to join us virtually, to walk us through the third quarter financials. Due to road conditions, I suggested she stay home and do this, from afar, and I appreciate her taking the time tonight to join us, and I'll let her take it from here.
She is.
Yeah, no vocal.
It's no good me saying you can't hear you because she can't see me.
Yeah, we don't count. We're not part of this
Hey,
group.
Gary, do you want to go for a beer?
I love that. So you got any British pubs kicking around?
We lost her.
Yeah, in England.
Is the volume
I'm
of
going.
this thing, maybe?
I'm going.
Good.
1st of March,
Yeah? You booked it?
just about.
Yeah.
I'll probably have to turn it on.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
See you want that back?
I'll give it back to you.
No, I read it. Jonathan, I read it online when you first posted it, so I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
Actually is.
I'm good.
Just look over there.
You're no kidding.
Wanna try your mic, Corinne?
It was right.
Yes, can you hear?
I
Perfect,
can.
Yeah, there we go.
Excellent, thank you. So thank you, CAO Patience, for the introduction, and I apologize for being remote, but it was a little bit nasty out there, so I think this was a safe place to be. So I'm gonna walk you through our third quarter financial update. Just so we've kind of provided the same reports that we normally provide. So as of the end of the third quarter, we're sitting with a favorable variance of just over 309,000. So if you go to the variance report by category, it'll give you that number at the very bottom. So with that, we're showing a very favorable variance on our total revenue of just over 26,000. And on our expenditures, we're showing that favorable variance just over 283,000. So I've identified 17 key variances that are open for discussion. I won't go through each one individually, but I will ask if there's any questions on that variance, those variance explanations, and I can provide further clarity. I did some projections to the end of the year today, and looks like we're gonna come out quite favorable from what I see so far, bearing any kind of large expenditures, which I've already kind of accounted for. So that's where we're at on the revenue and expense side. So I'll field questions there, and then I can move on to the capital piece, if
Excellent.
you would like.
Awesome. I got Councillor Gordon up first.
Thanks, Ms. Middleton. I appreciate the work on this, as usual, nice and precise, and I love being able to understand it. Quick question on revenue. In our last discussion, when we were talking about finances a few weeks back, there was a question as to whether or not Foothills County had provided the revenue for the pool. Has that been confirmed yet, or is that still an outstanding amount?
Yeah, correct. We haven't not yet billed the pool. That's what you were asking about, is the funds for the pool.
Yes.
So generally what we do is we like to make sure that we have all of the annual costs together. So we'll likely be able to bill them in the next few weeks.
Cool. Some more money.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on the first stage?
No.
Not seeing any. You can. Councillor Deputy Mayor has a quick one.
Yeah, just roads, contracted maintenance, extra costs for recycling, range recycling. What is that? Is that because we can't use our own recycling program, or?
So to address your question through the mayor, Deputy Mayor Holiday, so we are actually we have to have a third party pick up our recycling because of the nature of some of the items for some of our facilities. So we are using a third party for the facilities, for Public Works, and for one other facility. So we have to go through private.
All right. Thank you. And glass would be one of those items, I assume, then? Type thing?
Yep.
Yep.
Can I follow it there?
Yeah, sure.
I did want to, if I may, through the chair, I was listening to the discussion earlier regarding the garbage, and I did want to maybe just let you know that, so in January and February, our garbage tipping fees were up around 3,500, and we've been getting them down to about 2,700. So we are seeing some savings on the garbage side, because I know there was some discussion earlier about that, and I was listening, so I thought I would just gather some information on that.
That's awesome. I have a quick follow-up if I may.
Okay, thank you. We've got a follow-up, and then we have Councillor Rapp.
Quick follow-up, primarily because Councillor Holiday opened the door for recycling, but the new legislation that the Alberta government has brought forward regarding producers with our recycling, do you have any information on what that could look like for our municipality with the fees being put back on the producer? Do we have any of that data, or is it far too early in the legislation?
Well, to answer your question through the chair, I can't really answer your question because although I know that there are some changes coming, I have not done any investigation, but I can certainly talk with Craig and we can report back.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rapp.
Yeah, Miss Middleton, when I was talking about garbage, when I referred to Councillor Gordon before, I was looking at 11.3, I guess, on there, where it says garbage, purchases Regional Waste Authority, actual 27.6, budget 32, favorable variance, and that's what I was referencing when it said, with new programs, we have a slight decrease. Is that the right area to be referred to? Miss Middleton? Is that the one that talks about less tipping fees at the garbage still?
Yeah, I just to answer your question through the chair, I'm just going to the exact note just to make sure that I'm giving you the correct information. And yes, you are correct. So we didn't know what the magnitude of our savings or potential savings might look like. So we are seeing some savings and some reductions in our tipping fees.
Yeah, thank you. 11C. It says here, it says purchases from other agencies.
Thank you.
And the third one down there is garbage.
Was that
Sewer.
was that good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, thank you. Thank Miss Middleton.
Councillor Martin.
Just on page 2 on the recycle, it says sale of products and rebates, that you didn't receive any funding. Like, what, was there no product sold from January till June? Cause the recycle center closed in June.
So to answer your question, if I may, for clarity perspective, so previously we weren't budgeting for revenue for recycled material because we weren't getting any money for it. So it's only been this year where we've actually been able to see some revenue from selling some of the recycled materials, and that revenue is only up until the time period when the recycle depot closed. So now that the recycle depot is closed, of course, we're not going to get that revenue, but we sold some electronic product as well, and so we were able to get a little bit of money. But now that the recycle depot is closed, we won't be able to recognize any further sales after June.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Waring to round off the table.
Okay.
Corinne, very sensible not driving out here. It's bad enough coming from where I live. The recycle centre is now being used as a storage depot for the West End project, so there will be some income from that, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, to address your question through the chair, Councillor Waring, yeah, I haven't seen the final agreement, but I am aware that we are going to actually be able to collect a little bit of revenue. It's just mostly to cover off the utility costs of maintaining that building open and keeping it in a state where we can store that. So I know, I'm hoping we'll be able, well, we will book it prior to the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, we can move on.
Okay, great. So just to move on, we've got the details by the particular business units for your information, and we will be working with the group on just getting the final numbers. Like I said, I have some preliminary that I think I will share tomorrow because we're going to meet tomorrow. But this is just provides you a little bit of a different perspective when we break it down by the particular business unit. So nothing here that's really sticking out for us. I think everyone's managing their budgets as appropriately and as carefully as we can as we approach the end of the year. The other document is our capital projects update for quarter 3. So what I have done is I've added on the project of the swimming pool, but I have not yet added on the project for the pipe placed across the river. So those two projects will likely see some costs or additional costs coming through in the last quarter. Otherwise, it's pretty quiet. Fire Services has purchased the second component of their diesel capture system. It came in significantly under budget, so it was only about $13,000 US, so that will be showing up coming into the fourth quarter.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Holiday has a question.
Can, I know this is our last year, right, on the sewer and the water. Can we get a final report of everything that's been found sometime before the end of the year? Like
Detections.
the detection for leakages in the water and the sewer lines. Because we've approved it every year, we've kind of talked about it, but we've never had any official report back to council on what was found and what the value was. Because I know this is something I'm interested in for doing more of once after amalgamation when we expand our border.
So to address your question, I'll certainly work with Craig Beaton and Sean, the CAO, Sean Patience as well, to see if we can get that final report.
Yeah, just the value that it value it provided and what it costs, for the cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
That was my question. She's got it.
good. Any further questions at this time? Looking good to move on. Thank you.
I'll give the motion to accept the financial report. Thank you very much.
That was awesome. She was done.
All right. Any further comments? All in favor? Councillor Rob made the motion. Ms. Middleton, you are off the hook, and you didn't even have to leave the comfort of your house. That's fantastic.
Well, I'm thankful for that. I love new technology.
Yeah. So thanks for dialing in, and be safe tomorrow when you're driving.
Okay, have a good evening, everyone.
All right.
Good
Take
night.
care. Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
That was awesome.
Are we down to minutes?
Nope.
Staff
No,
appreciation.
staff
Hold on. There we
appreciation
go.
celebration dinner as
13-2.
recommended by Mr. Waring and spoken to by me.
Yes. Okay, so Councillor Waring actually brought this up and said, we haven't really finalized our Christmas plans here for Turner Valley. We did bring it to a JFAC, and it was a wishy-washy, not really solid on what to do. So Waring said, no, we should move ahead. And I said, you know what, I think we should. With that being said, I locked in 2 dates at the Legion as a temporary, if need be, because everything's booking up. So if we are going to move forward, then I can talk to the Legion, we can lock down those dates. So the idea here is we would have our normal annual Christmas party, maybe get a little bit of entertainment, and looks like the financial report said we're looking pretty good, so maybe Cindy can find some money for us in there and pay for some entertainment. Yeah, what do you guys think? An all Turner Valley staff Christmas party, final historic send-off. And the reason I'm not too concerned about Black Diamond being in on this is because that's a Diamond Valley initiative. Diamond Valley is going to be its own culture, its own organization, a whole new set of players. They're going to have their own job to meld. And Turner Valley and Black Diamond, this would be a nice send-off for each to just finish off, and away you go. So, that's my thought. Cindy?
We've often done it as a lunch at the Legion. Are you looking at dinner, or are you looking
It's up for grabs.
lunch?
It's totally up to, we
The
could do lunch.
Christmas parties before included partners, it was in the evening.
But we've also done the lunch too.
Oh, that was different, the lunch one was purely for the hands-on workers. The staff and the workers and representatives of the council were invited if they wanted to go, and that's when you did that gift exchange and that stuff. That was completely separate. The Christmas party used to be an intermunicipal Black Diamond, Turner Valley, Longview, and each year a different partner paid for the other
two, and that died the day.
We did that once and.
That was
Yeah,
shut
more
down.
than once.
Well-
We were doing it back when I was on.
No, but I
council.
meant when we were on council, 2017.
That was shut down
Christmas.
because of
Yeah, it was
financial
shut down.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went
So
Columbia.
my thought was at the evening Christmas party, dinner, whatever, and
Bring your significant others.
invite significant others, and if we can get some entertainment, all is well and good.
Yeah.
Some music.
Easy.
We used to do it in the Fleur and Derrick, and it used to be catered, and it was turkey and mashed potatoes and all that stuff, and some pudding
Yeah.
for afters. But whether you do the Fleur, the Public Works used to decorate the Fleur.
Kelly did it,
Paul Kelly, yeah, she
Mhm.
did a lot of it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So there's no cost for that. And then whatever the caterer's cost was, but it, I don't know if the Legion's big enough.
Oh, Legion's big enough.
We'd have about 60 people maybe.
Yeah, we're good for 150.
Yeah.
So we could do the Legion. Bonus of the Legion is they already have a bartender, they already
Yep,
have all the liquor,
yep.
we don't have to pay for anything.
Yep.
It's already decorated.
Yep.
The plates, just on a verbal, a turkey supper would be in the range of $20 to $25 per plate. So very reasonable.
Yep.
And you can keep it going late, or you can lock in your hours, and you're good to go.
What
So
were your dates?
I believe. Let's pull up this. We were looking at the 9th and 16th, I believe, December.
That's Friday.
Yep.
Those are Friday.
Those are Fridays. Yeah, go ahead.
I really like the idea of the Legion. I think the Legion has suffered somewhat over the last couple of years with COVID, and I think anything we can do to support them would definitely be a good thing, and they got the facilities and whatnot, so I would definitely support.
I checked at the golf course,
Oh, yeah.
and that doesn't mean I don't agree with
Yeah,
the
no.
Legion.
Yeah.
Just to see, because most Christmases they do something, they're not doing anything this year. So if you wanted to go there, you'd have to do everything yourself, so the Legion is a much better option.
So if, like, we don't need to plan it right now, so if we just get some thumbs up to investigate further, myself and Councillor Waring will go to the Legion, lock down some dates, times, come back, start an email stream, talk to staff.
Why not just
And get it
do
started.
a poll on the
Do a
state
poll?
tonight
Yeah,
or
we
the
could do that too,
16th?
but I wanna make sure that those are the dates and then times. So,
Yeah, the girls' basketball tournament on the night.
nah,
Oh, that's
there you go,
Don't worry.
What's the night?
girls' basketball
maybe,
tournament.
maybe.
So-
Actually,
You
no.
bring all the girls with you.
day of the week is that?
Actually,
So
no,
why
we might not.
don't, why don't myself and Waring,
Day of the week is the night.
lock down the dates, and then from there, we'll create a small
Why a
committee
Friday
to do a
night
little
there?
further work.
Why a Friday night and as opposed to a Saturday?
Friday, baby.
Okay.
If they
When
are
you're
available,
retired, it
we can
doesn't
check.
matter.
It won't
Staff don't
matter,
work
right?
on Saturday, so they can enjoy.
I guess
but-
I don't have your vote, eh?
We can look at those optional dates, but
Don't
the
feel
dates that I
special.
did get were like they were running out of space.
Yeah.
That's how busy they're getting.
Yeah.
So that's why I grabbed 2 dates just as an option.
Friday's
Councillor Rapp.
good.
I would prefer Fridays from the staff point of view, because the staff is here Friday, they're not here Saturday. So
Yeah.
that would be a lot more convenient for
You
them.
don't
I
have to
think.
pay them overtime.
Well,
Okay. I'm hearing yes. Let's get something. So we'll work with Legion, and then we'll get back to you guys, and we'll start gearing into it from there. So we've got a month.
Do you
And a
need
bit.
a motion
So do you want
to
to
appreciate?
mention the night?
Yeah. Well, are we paying ourselves, or is
We'd
it
have
coming
to
out
do
of
we
the
should be
budget?
paying some of it,
Do
probably.
we have a count, and we can ask?
Sean's gonna give us an answer.
Well, no, I'm not gonna give you an answer.
Show me the money.
I think it's a good idea, obviously. I don't know if it's been done before and what success we've had in the evening,
It's always been good.
with the evening parties. Ms. LeBlanc has suggested we don't normally have very good attendance at an evening function like that from staff.
Yep.
That's not unusual either, by the way. I also did wanna mention that, and things are happening very quickly just as of today, we're looking at a couple of all-staff meetings between both municipalities coming up here, one in November and one in mid-December to deal, second one to deal with our health and safety committee requirements to, everybody together to 2023, so that we have our core in place and that we're,
Mhm.
and there has been some discussion about potentially making that, like a Christmas luncheon meeting with both staff, so I just wanna make you aware of that as well. But there's maybe a slight bit of skepticism as to whether an evening event would be successful, and I don't really know, I haven't got any experience here.
Always well, we didn't.
Well, hey, if staff don't wanna come, I know councillors are hardcore partiers, eh?
No, and I don't mean to demean the thought, I just did wanna make you
Yeah.
know that there may be some other side functions that we try and do along with it, and
Mhm.
we've been looking for an opportunity to get both staffs together, and,
Team building's good.
From a communication perspective, because we have not done that yet, and the secondly is to meet our requirements for a joint health and workplace safety committee.
Perfect. Councillor Rudd and Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, if that's the case, that's really important, you know, to get the two staffs together. I think that's perhaps more important than going out with council. Council could do it on our own too, wouldn't have to be Legion, could be any place then, like the Westwood or someplace like that. You know, maybe it's better to support the staff somehow financially for that luncheon and go on our own. That's a possibility too. I'm not trying to crap on the staff, I'm just saying that
Well, let me pull
I
the
wanna be
staff.
respectful of staff, and I think team building for that for the staff is really important. Perhaps, well, it is more important than, cause Waring and I won't be here next year anyway, so, you know, it's more important for the staff to build that connection than it is for us to be there personally, what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's just
Just
the
a
end of an era.
Yeah.
Since 1930, there's been a town attorney.
That's correct.
There's been
Yeah.
councils, there's been administration,
Yes.
there's been employees. It's never gonna happen after the
That's correct.
Yeah.
31st of December. And just to give up a few hours on a Friday night to get together and say, good luck.
Well, let's keep
Yeah.
it open to staff and see what kind of
If you
turnout.
don't wanna
Why
come,
don't we,
that's fine, but invite the brothers.
Why don't we pull the staff over the next couple of days, we'll just send out an all-staff
That's a
email
good
and
idea.
see who's
Well,
interested, and
Yeah.
Let us get some
Yeah.
stuff locked down so we can give you some meat and
Okay.
potatoes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
They'll come
But
if
it would
it's
be,
free.
it would be nice to be with staff, don't get me wrong, I agree with John,
Yeah.
it's
No,
it's
I
a
didn't want
cause
to
for
demean it, I
salvation.
just,
No,
I
no,
know I
it's
had
good.
this
And I'm not
browse
trying to
so I
say
just-
we don't want staff, I'm just saying that
Buy your own
the
drinks.
staff
food is
important, staff building, team building is really important for you
Yeah.
guys, for sure.
Okay, Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, in regards to the comments about it's not been well attended in the past and so on and so forth, two things. Number one, I think coming out of, hate to say it remember COVID, I think that, you know, I think people will look at any opportunity they can to get out. I could be wrong, but apart from that, would we not do a pre-registration? Would we not know sort of ahead of
Yeah,
time
absolutely.
whether we had the numbers or
Oh,
how
for
many
sure.
people would be
Yeah.
coming or not? So
Yeah.
we would be able to have an idea a couple weeks.
Yeah, I didn't wanna be a wet blanket, that wasn't my
Yeah,
intent,
no.
so my staff might go, hey, we'd love to go.
I just wouldn't wanna throw away the
It'd be
opportunity
nice.
is all.
Yeah.
Be nice to sort of,
Where-
our chance to thank
And I
staff
don't know
too.
that we need to do
Exactly.
them
Our chance
one
to
or
thank
the
staff.
other,
There's that
you know what
chance
I
to
mean?
thank staff. Warren, give me a motion to some effect that puts us in the, get something done.
Continue with the planning.
Motion is that Mayor Crane, assisted humbly by Councillor Waring, will put together a Christmas event at the, what do they call them, the Legion, Turner Valley Legion. Date to be confirmed in December, and invitations to go out to council, staff and beloveds.
Good enough.
There you go.
Anything else changes, we can change it later.
Yeah.
Okay,
And what sort of entertainment are you gonna do?
we'll
That's
figure
not
it.
good.
Does that include all family or just your significant other?
Significant
Can't bring your kids, and you can't bring your second wife or your fourth husband.
All in
There was
favor?
that plan.
Alright, that's Gary.
I think the nice thing about the Legion, I think that was a really actually quite a good idea, because it takes the load off the staff from having to set up and take down.
Yeah.
And,
Don't have to do a thing.
yeah, so that's nice, so appreciate the sentiment.
Yep, perfect. Okay, general correspondence, none, correspondence,
You got,
13.3.
you got 13.3.
Mr.
Sneaky.
Mr. Rod.
Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you very much for putting this on the agenda, and I'll just be very brief because we're gonna hear from Ursula Sherwood, the CEO, next week at JFAC anyway. But I thought it's important to let you know about what changes that have been made, and actually a decision by the board has been made. And I'll just give you a little bit of, very briefly, summary of what's happening. Community Futures, which Jonathan's been on until this year, and I was on, and I was an alternate before, is kind of a unique being actually. It had a board, but the board consisted of elected officials, one from each of the communities, like Turner Valley, Okotoks, Black Dam, and so on, plus members at large, plus the people who did all the reviews of the investment review committee, which, so there's really, sometimes the board would have 20 people there. Some could vote, some couldn't vote, nobody knew who could vote and who couldn't. It was not very manageable, I didn't think. It was, so Ursula talked to me about this when I first got elected, or first got on this board, maybe last fall, December, and she talked about the board. I said, well, the board is not very functional, so it's trying to tie things up. So what they're proposing, and what we agreed to the other night, was 9 members, a 9-member board, and they wouldn't include elected officials, so we just got ourselves out of a job. They're just whoever's on the new council, you wouldn't be on that, because there wouldn't be elected officials, it'd be a 9-person board, and that's good for continuity, it's good for lots of things. Could there be some downside? Yes. In any event, all 7 municipalities that are involved would have to kind of say, yeah, we're okay with this. Okay, so I don't know if you want to ask any questions. I think I just leave it at that. Say you're going to probably get some information, I would think, before JFAC on this, I suspect, and if not, I can send it to you, and so you'll have a choice. But really, I voted in favor of it, as did everybody else that was there, except Foothills County is a little bit concerned, I think, about liability, but there's actually less liability because we would virtually give away our share, turn our share in. Now our share hasn't got that much monetary value, like $1, but anyway, we turn our share in, and the new board would be the ones that would be ultimately responsible for any future, problems, if there were any future litigation type of things. So pros and cons. I don't know, I don't want to say much more than that, because I know you're going to hear it again. I don't think you need to hear it twice. You guys are smart enough that one pass usually does it. So I'll entertain any questions you might have and take it from there.
Deputy Mayor.
So if it's not councillors, is it members at large that become it, or
Yes.
is it their people that are reviewing it that are?
The new board, and the new board would be 9. They'd come from shareholders. Organizations, in other words, like Foothills or Okotoks or whatever. Initial board would be elected, so I that's where it gets so dicey for me, because we don't like, our council wouldn't appoint anybody, the new council wouldn't appoint anybody, they'd be sort of elected from their boards, okay? But the advantage of that, they would be on the board to make decisions. They'd also be on the reviewing the finances, so they'd have a better understanding than I ever had as an elected official, because I was there, but I didn't know about loans and who got the loans and why they got them. So there are people at large is what they would be. An elected official could do it, but you wouldn't be sitting there as an elected official. You'd be sitting there as a board member.
I would just wonder about, who gets to pick those people, right? And that's like, if it was, we as a Turner Valley Council get to elect a member at large from Turner Valley, that provides a little bit of separation from who, I don't know Community Futures Highwood and how it operates, but that picking, cherry picking of board members and where they're from and if they really represent the community would be where I'd be concerned.
Yes,
Mhm.
I think those are questions you need to ask Ursula, because Mr. Patience and I had that very same conversation prior to this meeting, because he's up to speed on this as well, and he's talked to Ursula some time ago, and he knew more about it than I did, because I missed the initial meeting where they originally set it up, because I was up hunting and I missed that meeting, and so I was there for the vote, but I really didn't hear all the discussion. But that is a concern, like, I get on the board, I'm gonna get off the board and say, hey, I know this Hazel person, she should be on the board, and all of a sudden you become sort of a nepotism here, and that's not really what you're looking for. So good question. I think you can ask that question. But I think they're looking more at Ursula, I think, what she believes is that way you can attract people that have financial backgrounds or maybe board backgrounds, you train them properly. You know, if they're on for 3 years, you can go three-year terms, I think, but you're on for 3 years at a time. So, you know, elected officials can be changed, but the org meeting, if we don't forget them on the bottom of the list, but the organization, we can always put, you know, can always drop, you could change it, like this year was changed in our board, because prior to this past year, Jonathan was always on, so. Anyway, that's an excellent question to ask for sure, Ursula, but I don't wanna say, I'm not afraid to answer the questions, I just say I don't wanna tell you now, and then you have to listen to it again, cause once should probably be enough, so you may as well hear it right from Ursula. If that's good enough for you for right now, thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else?
I might be able to add just a brief.
Sure.
I think Councillor Rabb covered it very well. Ms. Sherwood will actually be at your JFAC meeting next week to give a presentation on this, and you can certainly ask any specific detailed questions of Ursula at the time. And there will be a requirement from council to approve the shareholder exchange. I've been given a list of, I believe, I wanna say 15 or 16 resolutions. I'm still a little unclear as to whether we have to just pass the resolutions or just approve myself as a signatory to sign off on the share agreement changeover. So those are things I still need to clear up, and I did speak with Ursula this morning. So she is coming to your JFAC meeting as a delegation, and we can certainly clear up any pieces at that point.
Thank you very much, and I read the communication between you and Ursula, and I think it's just a matter of saying, yes, we'll support it, I think. And perhaps, Councillor Gordon has something to add, cause he's on this, he's been on Community Futures for 4 years, so you were on before that, I guess, but you're old school, though. We're not in the picture.
I was on it before.
You and I are at the school, we're not in the picture anyway, so maybe we'll get Councillor Gordon to weigh in.
I've got a badge somewhere.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Rob, for bringing that forward. Councillor Gordon?
Yeah, I think I'll wait till Ursula brings forward her presentation to put a better scope into it. And I'll reserve my comments for that evening. I think I'll wait for Ursula.
Okay. Get a motion? Set for information from Councillor Gordon. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, 2 items of correspondence. I'm just going right there. All right, Municipal Planning Commission. Mr. Dixon,
It's good to me.
you are the
Give
chair.
you a motion to accept as information.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. And Mr. Waring, I believe this one would be yours.
Oh God, don't ask any questions.
Right?
That is pretty long, dude.
Yeah, it's big.
I sat through this thing and it was like in another language. It was amazing.
I can see that.
But basically in simple mathematics, it's water in and water out.
Yeah. There you go.
And they don't really know what's going in and where it's coming from, and they know what's coming out. So it's quite interesting actually. And yeah, there's going to be one more meeting before the end of the year, which I volunteered to go to, as I seem to be the person. So yeah, it's well worth reading through it, but it makes you go to sleep.
It's pretty neat.
So a motion to accept for information.
Thank you, sir. All in favor? Thank you. And we will take a 5-minute recess. Then we will go into camera. So why don't we just take, we'll do the recess and then we'll go on camera, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, recess 5 minutes.
I got into trouble at West End because I did the recess in the in camera.